All right then. Well, hi everyone. Thank you very much for watching or listening today. And today I have a very, very special guest indeed, Mr. Christian Roberts. As you all know, the main man with Spartan Bare Fight Club, founder, creator, and owner. Obviously repping the brand there as well. And today we're going to be talking about some very big things that are happening with Spartan for 2022. At the time of this recording now, it's early January 2022. So there's some big things being planned for the year. We've got top fighter signings. We've got new avenues opening up. A lot of good things happening. So we're going to be talking about all of this today. So Christian, as always, mate, thank you for coming on and thank you for making the time. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, sir. Have a
Good.
good Christmas and New Year.
I did. Yeah, very chilled. A bit of family time, but pretty quiet to be fair. How about you? Was
Uh,
it?
I just want to start the interview by saying I'm wearing the mask because, coming off a 10-day isolation with a family member having COVID. So better safe than sorry. I don't want to test positive and not be able to go anywhere or do anything. I know it's all horseshit, but you gotta think of other people sometimes and that. So
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's why he's in the mask, guys. But yeah, there's a method in the madness there. There, so that's all good. All right then. So there's some big things happening, obviously, as people will know bits and pieces. Now, every time we talk on the phone, there's new developments and there's new exciting developments going on. So obviously we've got a bit to get through now. Obviously you've got the different branches opening up. You've got different fighters signing up as well, top quality. You've got all different things you mentioned on the phone to me, a small change with the pit as well. Obviously, we've got the show coming up in February the 26th, so there's different things. So where you want to start with it, I don't know. Let's maybe we should start with some of the new signings because I think that would be something good. Anyone who's in the Spartan group has seen some top names coming in. So let's start there. It's a good place as any, to get the ball rolling. You've got some big names coming on board. Let's walk us through some of who they are, please, mate. That'd be perfect.
yeah, man. You knew we signed Bashir Fakori from BKBTM. Had a couple of fights for them, been on the wrong end of a few results, and he's come over to us now to try the pit, and he brings a big following with him, and he's a popular dude, and so we're excited to see his journey. When he sets out in Spartan, with other signings, the lads who've been with us as well, like Lee Paul, unbeaten. Um, Max Howden, unbeaten, all good lads, all good signings. Recently one of our signed fighters, Gilberto Aguila from Mexico, won Fight of the Year for BYB Extreme in America. The Spartan signings coming thick and fast. And yeah, we're looking forward to a good show. We're looking forward to signing more talent in the new year. The signings haven't ended; they've only just begun. Um, we figure we need a fighter base of around about 175 to 225 fighters. So anywhere in between there, I'm good with. We can operate the 5 branches that are actively running now. My branch will be the main branch and pay-per-view branch for the hay bales. Um, you'll have Ash Spartan with the Cage Wars. Danny McIntosh for the European light heavyweight champion out the Ingle gym. Former opponent of Tony Bellew will run the East Anglian branch. I'll tell you, he's got some big plans for that. He's got a good former few pros already ready to appear on his first card. He's got Kevin Mitchell recently. He said that's going to watch the show, and Billy Joe Saunders. So that'll be a branch to watch and rival any ring company out there. We got Decker Alford in the Midlands doing the ring, and we've got Darnell John obviously doing the hay bales. I can tell you now I'm in talks with people in Wales and Scotland about opening branches. That'll be it for the UK. We've obviously got plans to go abroad and do things, but let's conquer what's on the plate first. And we're not looking any further than the 28th of February, and every other branch and every other branch manager and fighter and everybody will pull together to make sure this calendar runs. And if it runs, how I think it can run in 2022 with no hindrance, we'll be putting 20 shows out there, man. And we'll be putting a full 2-day festival, a fight fest on as well. So that's a lot of content, man. It's a lot of fights. It's a lot of results, a lot of belts, a lot of heartache, a lot of joy. It's a lot of work more than anything. But I'm confident now the team have constructed behind the scenes and will continue to grow as yourself as a member. Sky's the limit, man. As long as we all do our jobs to 100%, there's no way it can fail.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Well, it's a good place to start. I know 2022 is going to be a massive year for Spartan, the way we're growing. Like I say, every time I speak to you on the phone, like the amount of new things, I know we can't talk about all of it, but just to give the fans a hint, some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, it is massive. It is absolutely huge. Now, a couple of other things here with changes as well. You touched on the pay-per-view side of things there as well. I know there's been different things announced about that, or there's been one or two posts in the group, but for anyone that's sort of not clear on how that's going to work, some people will be, some people won't be, how it goes. Can we just touch on that a little bit and talk about how that's going to work for ongoing shows as well?
Pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Well, the pay-per-view, we're speaking with Christian, is it Hoyt? The guy who recently filmed a little documentary at the show. Cracking guy, we've had a meeting with him, full of ideas. We're meeting him and a branding guru this week as well. Gets all your brand out globally. And yeah, basically he's managed to get us a pay-per-view platform that we're going to rent, and that will be launched in a week or two, just in time for the sales for the next show. Shall point out as well, I put a video on TikTok saying if I get 50,000 followers that will stream the show live to TikTok. And that's going pretty good, to be fair. we're gaining them at knots now. We're gaining about 1,000 a day now. So that's good, man. So yeah, the pay-per-view platform we launched in a couple of weeks, and going forward as an option for the fighters as selling tickets and selling the quota and earning money, that pay-per-view stream, we will sit down and work a deal out with those when it's running right and we know it's going well. We'll work a deal out where so much gets paid to the fighter and so much to the company. It'll all add up in the end. But yeah, having our own pay-per-view streams paramount at this point to help fans around the world who can't get to the shows watch them. Because I can tell you this, they're only going to get sicker and more twisted as the year goes on.
Yeah, 100%. The most brutal out there, 110%. Everyone knows that. So that is brilliant as well. Because I wanted to give that little insight as well, to the people who obviously can't be there. Because even though the following is massive in terms of attendance, obviously I can see this growing and growing, to a global audience and to a lot of these other places as well. So that's brilliant. Now, the other thing is, I don't know how much you can say about this. So obviously, if we get into anything that's sort of not set in stone yet or whatever, just say. But and I'll just cut that or whatever. But obviously, in terms of some of the matches and some of the fights that you're personally most excited to see, be they title fights, be they at any level really, whether it's new guys coming in or whether it's the top title fights. I'm just curious, obviously, as the creator of all this yourself, if there's any that you're personally most excited to see, fights that are going to happen that you can mention. Because I know you might not be able to mention them all yet. But is there any that you
I could sit here till midnight and tell you the combination of fights that will whet the appetite for everybody involved. The one thing we do have is an abundance of good name pit fighters. So, there's no shortage of takers. I mean, fights to make, what we've already announced that could be happening are happening. One of the fights happening down the line, Robbie Adamson, Darnell John. That's going to be an absolute barn burner by anyone's standards. Other fights to make, Aaron Lambourne, Lewis Francis, that could be happening very soon. If the other party agrees, then there could be a bare knuckle MMA belt on the horizon. The list goes on. Curtis Nelson, I'd like to see another rematch with, his opponent, and Jake Green and Jordan Clements, all that little triangle going. Tom Blakeman's coming into the fold now. So, all these title contenders, all good fights, man. Reese Roadhouse, you've got Andrew Anthony. He's definitely going to meet Leon Brazil at some point this year for the world title. Jamie Hendry's in the mix with them boys now. And some of these are legit killers, man. So it can only be good for the fans. But I've got to say, a couple of my personal favourites are, I'm really looking forward to Robbie Adamson against Darnell John. Two very gifted fighters, two very tough guys as well. No one gives an inch, man. And neither one of them has put a foot wrong in that pit so far. Neither one. Again, Aaron Lambourne. You've seen the way he blasted Stevie Gold away in under 30 seconds, man. Take some there, man. you know, you got Nathan J Dog coming through. He's shouting a lot of noise about Andrew Anthony and Andrew Anthony about him, and you know he's going to be in the fold as well. And you know, I can't mention two of the fighters that I'm about to go into talks with, but one of those is a heavyweight, and if I put him in there, he's going to be installed straight at the top of the table as well. He's a really big banger with a big reputation. So, you know, there's plenty of lively divisions out there. But yeah, there's a lot of good fights to be made, man. I like that kind of the younger fighters that are coming through as well, like Max Howden. You know, hasn't put a foot wrong. You know, Shane Wood. Shane's not bashing people up for fun, man. Curtis Nelson's just had a bit of a loss, come off the battle with a bad loss. I believe when he comes back, he'll have learned from that. I believe he'll come back a lot fitter and stronger from that. And I believe, again, he'll be a force. You know, Gilberto Aguila, you know, he's going to be thrown in there. And, you know, we've just got your very own Alec Baza, bit of a tough guy, former pro. You know, he's gonna come into the mix, man. He's gonna mix things up. We've got Tommy Chadburn, former pro boxer, former BKBTM. You know, all these divisions have got mouth-watering fights in them, man. We've just got to find the right ones. You know, and I think after we've had one or two shows this year, the path and the pattern will kind of find itself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's so many to look forward to, and obviously, it's almost sort of not fair in a way to, for you to sort of pick favorites because there's so many talented fighters on there. So when I said that, I thought, oh, I don't know, but it's still because there's so many, it
There's a
gives you.
few that stick out in the mind, isn't there? That like the big names, but like I say, the younger guys like your Lee Pauls and your Shane Woods and your people that are all good scrappers, man. So they all got bright futures.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Good. All right. So obviously we touched a little bit on the pay-per-view. We touched a little bit on the different fighters as well, and some of the different things you've got going on. Now, obviously, there are things, and again, this is something I don't know how much you can say about this, or like I said before, if we get into anything that's you can't talk about, I'll just take it out of here. But there have been situations where you've been in talks with some other promoters as well, which you mentioned on the phone to me with some other other companies about like maybe doing crossover fights or sort of working together in some way, shape, or form. Now, again, I don't know how much you could say about that because I know some of these things are not sort of concrete yet and they're not really, solidified. But if there's anything you can mention about some of the people you've been in talks with, just to give people an indication, that would be good as well. But obviously, if you can't say too much, then no worries.
I'm an open book, Liam. I don't really pull my punches with any fucker, so I'll be truthful and say, I do speak to Stephen Hanks. We are planning to swap fighters and do little bits and bobs in the future and that. Rest of the promoters, mate, couldn't give a fuck about any of them, to be fair, mate. I don't really bother with them. They're in a different sport to me. The ring BKB fighters, I know we've got two ring branches, but they're in the same sport as Danny, not me. They're in the same sport as Decker, not me. So, I'm a standalone with the pit and with Darnell doing the understudy of it. And it's hard, man, yeah, but we'll be doing bits with Stephen Hanks, and I can tell you I'm deep in talks with the Americans and James Quinn about doing little bits and bobs with them as well. So that's something that still needs ironing out, which I'll reconvene next week. But yeah, man, we've kind of brought out all the arenas under one roof now. We've got the cage, the pit, and the ring. Pick your poison, stick with it. There's no reason to fight on other venues. I mean, would we let other fighters fight on other shows? Of course, as long as the promoter comes to us respectfully and says, we want your fighter and blah blah. If they go into the fight and say, "Oh, it's up to you," then the door will be shut. We're in a better position now. We're a bigger business, so we can assure you that if it's something we don't like and we're under contract, then we will pursue. We're not here for fun. We're contracting these fighters and working day and night to put a big platform out there for our lads. So we think if the promoter comes to us and we can reach an agreement where they get paid what they get paid with us, hey, we've got no problem appearing anywhere. There's not many that do that, by the way.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the fact that you'll sort of never stand in any fighter's way, as you once said to me, I remember you once saying to me, is a real testament to that. I mean, and I love that because obviously it depends on what people want to do with Spartan. Some guys are in with you for the long haul and they'll win titles and they'll do stuff. Obviously, there's other guys that sort of gain that experience and then they they fight elsewhere, and sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. But it means different things to different people. I think in terms of
I think the thing to keep in your head is this, that I mean, just to touch on a few names, Michael Marshall was a real favourite with the crowd, and he was heavyweight champion, and we crossed swords. He ended up leaving. The story goes on, man. And next minute there was a new champion, and now this week recently, a good pal Jack Kirkbright, our European lightweight champion, was released from his contract. Says he wants to explore other avenues. Jack's got my utmost respect. He's never been anything but brilliant for us when he come on board, and he's left us some great memories and footage. He's a good fighter. But someone bigger and uglier will come along and take the European title and take it forward. And, will Jack be forgotten? Probably not, because he'll always come to shows. He loves the shows. But will Jack's legacy in the pit be forgotten? It's scary how quick people forget what people have done in the pit. Until you get to like Scott Midgley era and things like that, where the guys are remembered. These days, if you only have one or two fights in the pit, then you're easily forgotten, man. But I've no doubt Jack will be back one day and he'll try it again. But we wish Jack all the best. He's pursuing the gloves, and he wants to do a bit of bare knuckle all around the country. So listen, he's got our utmost respect, and he gets our best wishes all the way.
100%, yeah, absolutely, 100%, Tim. And as you know, I recently interviewed him as well. Yeah, we wish him all the best for the future, 100%. Brilliant. All right then. So we've touched on quite a bit here as well so far. I mean, to give the fans and the fighters some highlights, going forward as well. Now, there's one or two other things to touch on, but in your own words, now I'm just going to turn this over to you. Which aspect of all of this, because obviously you're working day and night on all this, and like I say, every time I talk to you, there's different developments and there's negotiations and all this. But personally, as a promoter, obviously as the creator of Spartan, what are you most excited about out of all of this? I mean, can you pick one thing out of how big it's going to be? Maybe the pay-per-view, maybe the fighters, maybe it's more than one thing. You get where I'm going. Not so much the company now, because obviously we're talking about the company, but honing in on you individually as a promoter, and obviously as a fight fan yourself, and a matchmaker and everything that you are. What are you personally most excited to see from Spartan this year? I know this is a big question, so and I know I kind of drop it on you there, but I just wanted to get your thoughts from the promotional side, if you get, where I'm coming from with this.
I think to be there and recognised as these guys deserve it, man. So, what they're doing is the hardest sport in the world, man. You're getting in a small space and having a cockfight to the death, They deserve the coverage. They deserve to be covered globally. They deserve to be recognised for putting their lives on the line and fighting hard. And, and what am I looking forward to the most? Hopefully, this can become a really big business for us. Hopefully, this can look after the fighters. The end goal would always be that your fighters don't have to work. More importantly, me and my family don't have to work. Everyone doesn't have to work. We all pull together and this blows up really big, and everyone gets the recognition they deserve, and everyone lives the best life. That's the ultimate. But what we're looking forward to this year mostly is the challenge of all 5 branches carrying out all 4 shows on each branch and getting the 20 shows and getting a 2-day festival out there. Because I believe once we get to the end of this year, if we've fulfilled that, that'll be one big beast in rolling motion.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. It is going to be a massive, massive year. I mean, the expansion. And honestly, guys, anyone out there watching this, listening to this, you see some of it on social media and you see, these bits and pieces. But when you sort of hear about what's happening behind the scenes, it is next level. And I mean, I know some, and obviously I don't even know all, but there's some really, really, really big things happening behind the scenes, guys. So just to get that hype, the hype is legit, and we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, I think, like in the Spartan group and things like that. So brilliant. So the last couple of things then, because obviously it's a good insight. The last couple of things is obviously I know we're spending most of the time looking forward, to 2022, but similar type of thing. Looking back though, I just very briefly want to do this on the shows that you've had so far. What is are you most proud of as a promoter so far in terms of the opportunities that you've given to fighters? And I know we touched on this when we did our interview. When was it, June or July last year, or whenever it was? We touched on your proudest moments as a promoter so far in terms of how Spartan's grown from, where you started to where it is now. And I know it's going to grow massive from here, so obviously I know. But just taking a moment to look back, in your own words, your proudest moments as a promoter, is it a particular show? Is it the opportunities you've given a fight, the fighters themselves? Because I speak to so many guys who, you've turned their lives around and you've given them opportunities they never had. You get where I'm coming from, but in your own words, what do you think of that moment when you just thought, this is it? I'm amazed by this so far in your career as a promoter, with Spartan. Is it a particular show? Is it a particular fight? You get where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah, I don't know really. It's hard. It's a hard one to say because you
Again,
know
sorry. It's another big question. So I'm sorry. Some of them are big
it's a
questions.
hard one because in this game you have so many highs and so many lows. I mean, my family live it with me. The fans only see the end product, the tip of the iceberg, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many highs and lows and the build up to a show. So I think one of the ones that sticks in my head was probably Spartan 5, because with a couple of weeks to go, the venue fell through on us, and then we had this other venue, and then we got that off the ground and we got it done. I think it was the sense of relief when I was driving back after the show. I was kind of on the motorway and I had a moment to myself and thought about it, and so much went into that show behind the scenes as well. My family helped me, partner, and that, and we got it over the line just, and it was a big, 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 big turning point because we needed to bring it, yeah. And we pulled it out of the fire, and with all that was going on in the family and the background as well, which is private, but at the time, it was a big achievement, man, considering what we were under. So I would say my proudest moment was driving home after Spartan 5 and thinking, "Fuck yeah, we got through it, man." And then getting up the next day and seeing the reviews of everyone saying, "Wow, it was amazing. It was one of the best shows I've been in." Yeah, considering the pressure that was on and the situation we were in, it was a really, really good result for us.
Mm. Yeah, I just wanted to give that a mention because obviously it really shows, how far you've come as a company and obviously individually and fighters and everything. But again, these are things the fans don't see, and obviously one of the things I love to get into with interviews is basically the stuff that the fans don't see, that goes on behind the scenes. They see, as you say, they see the finished product, they see absolutely cracking fights and they see all this good stuff. But there's so much more that goes into it. So going looking into the future again, like I say, the last couple of things, obviously there's going to be a lot of new fans coming on board, but to the existing fans that have been, loyal and stuck by you so far, whether it's coming to shows or supporting the fighters or whatever, some of them are going to be watching. Well, quite a lot of them are going to be watching this or listening to this. So, words for them, words to the loyal ones you've had so far, the proper fight fans who've stuck by you so far. What would you say to them, just to give them a shout out?
Fans are fucking top class, mate. They have been from day one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we rock up in a fucking car park behind the jail. It doesn't matter if we rock up in a field or a four-star hotel. They love it, man. But honestly, I genuinely mean it. I know all promoters say it. None of them fucking mean it. Divvies. I mean it. These guys are fucking nuts, man. They'll follow you anywhere. And they just love the passion of what they're watching. They love it. They love it unfolding. They love it all. So we couldn't ask for better fans than we've got. I mean, to the new ones coming on, just speak to the old ones. All right. Sometimes the shows are a bit moody. Sometimes the shows are, in odd locations and stuff. But mate, we have a fucking ball, and we've got the one thing that no other company out there. And I know you are all watching, Jim, Joe, Andy Bakewell, the fucking rest of you. You haven't got that family togetherness like we've got in this company, man. It's like we're all fucking related. It's nuts. You turn up to shows. They're the roughest set of people you'd ever see, mate. The nicest set of people you would ever see. The best fans. They treat the fighters like fucking gods on the day. Listen, mate. We're not the biggest out there, and we're not the best out there. But we fucking enjoy what we're doing, and so do the people that come to watch us. And it doesn't matter how much the rest make fun or take the piss or do what they do. Give a fuck. Listen, we love what we do. We love our fans, the sponsors as well. Huge shout out to those. They keep sponsoring us every year. We're like that gym in dodgeball, the unpopular gym. But we've got a good following, man. And the people that come and watch us, they love what we do. And the lads love what they're doing, and we're all in it together. So, You know, long may that continue. And as long as we're helping people turn their lives around, stop getting in trouble, stop stabbing each other, putting the weapons down, that's a good thing, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course that is the power, big part of the power of what you're doing as well, which always needs to be said, 110% to put across is obviously, this changes lives, and what you're doing absolutely changes lives. And when I speak to the fighters and everything like that, they always say, or there's always some aspect to the story of how being part of Spartan changed their life, for the better. Whether it's like you say, not getting into those fights on the street, they could easily end up in stabbing or getting, glassed or whatever it is, or all these different things. But or whether it's mental health, or whether it's something else, whether it's extra money for the family, there's all these different things that it could be, and it takes many forms. But you just hear that over and over again, and yeah, I mean the amount of lives you've changed. I know obviously it's a team effort, so like you say, it's a family effort. It's just a phenomenal thing, man. That's not even a question. That's just me putting that across. But the very last question then, because obviously I don't want to be sort of eating too much of your evening up, so and everything like that. So the last question really to give a quick shout out. Obviously, people that want to fight for you, whether they're experienced fighters or whether they don't have much experience, but they want to give it a go in there. And I know again we touched on this in the past, but I think it's as relevant as ever. In terms of obviously they can get in touch with the different branches, but in terms of what they need to do to fight for you, do they need to get in touch with yourself? Obviously, I know the answer to this, but for anyone out there that doesn't, walk us through what happens if
I
people want
mean,
to
I
fight.
mean, the main thing is I'll say to you is this: if you're thinking of fighting for us, join the group on Facebook, Spartan BK Fight Club. You know, there's 18 and 19,000 people in there. Join it. Throw a post in the group saying, "How do I get started?" One of us will answer. You'll be directed. You'll come to me or you'll come to Darnell or one of the others. We'll ask you if you've got experience. If not, training video, and you'll be matched accordingly. It runs no deeper than that, really. Just join the group on Facebook. If you haven't got Facebook, then we're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Find us wherever. We're always about, mate. YouTube, which will be for yourself. So if you want to throw the link to the Facebook group in the bio, feel free. Yeah, man, just click on the link and get in touch, and someone will serve you up.
Brilliant. Yeah, I know it's a simple question for you, but at the end of the day, with this, we'll have the existing fans, the existing fighters watching this, but in terms of the growth as well, I think there's probably always going to be people out there who are thinking about it. They're like, oh, I don't know, or whatever. So just giving that a mention in the video will hopefully, give them a push to get in touch as well. So that's brilliant, mate. Well, we've touched on some good stuff. I know 2022 is going to be a massive year, and there's some incredible things happening. So everybody, honestly, keep your eyes open. There's some amazing things happening this side. Well, we've touched on it today, but trust me, there's more behind the scenes. So, Christian, all I want to say, mate, is obviously, as always, big thank you for taking time out of your evening as well. And thank you for hopping on and making this happen. And yeah, we've got Rep in the brand one more time. Hey, I've got to ask that actually, if people want one of those shirts or whatever.
Spartan Wars clothing. We'll contact Crystal Adamson on Facebook and she'll sort you out. She'll get you sorted out. Some nice tug. Looks quite good actually. It's all good tug. They've got new designs out now and stuff. I just want to shout, like I said before, a big shout out to the sponsors, Ecotech, Alpha Science, Scott West Shellfish, Ecotech Systems, all of them. They're all good. They're all good guys. They all sponsored us. Thanks for your loyalty, guys. They've got 2022 free of sponsor. So they just get free sponsorship now from 2022. Sorry. Anyone looking to come on board, hit us up direct on Facebook.